Welcome back, movie fans. Today, we're diving deep into one of Pixar's most beloved sequels, Toy Story 2. This film takes everything we loved about the original and dials it up to 11. Andy is getting ready to go to cowboy camp, and he can't wait to take his favorite toy, Woody, with him. Woody's arm accidentally tears at the seam. Andy is heartbroken, but his mom tells him you can't take a broken toy. So, Woody is placed on a high shelf, left behind while Andy heads off to camp. Things go from bad to worse when Andy's mom decides to have a yard sale. She grabs a box of old, unwanted items from the shelf, including a squeaky penguin toy named Wheezy, whose squeaker is broken. Woody, ever the leader, stages a daring rescue mission to save Wheezy from being sold. The rescue is a success, but in the process, Woody falls into the yard sale himself. A greedy toy collector named Al McQuiggan, the owner of Al's Toy Barn, spots him. He tries to buy Woody, but Andy's mom refuses, explaining he's not for sale. But Al is relentless. He creates a distraction and steals Woody, bundling him into his car and speeding away. Woody has been toy-napped. Al takes Woody back to his high-rise apartment, a place filled with pristine, collectible toys. Here, Woody makes a shocking discovery that completely changes his understanding of who he is. He's a rare, valuable collectible from a classic 1950s puppet TV show called Woody's Roundup. In Al's collection, he meets the rest of the gang. Jessie, a high-energy and slightly manic cowgirl with a hidden, painful past. Bullseye, Woody's incredibly loyal and lovable horse. And Stinky Pete the Prospector, an older toy who's still in his original mint-condition box. They reveal Al's grand plan. He has finally assembled the complete Woody's Roundup collection and intends to sell them all as a set to a toy museum in Tokyo, Japan. There, they would be preserved forever, admired by generations, but kept behind glass, never to be played with by a child again. At first, Woody is horrified. His only thought is to escape and get back to Andy. He is Andy's toy, and that's all that matters. But as he learns more about his own history, seeing old clips from his show, and all the merchandise made in his image, he starts to feel a sense of pride and importance he's never known. For the first time, Woody begins to question his identity. Is he just Andy's plaything, or is he a piece of history? He starts to consider a future beyond Andy's room. Meanwhile, back at Andy's house, the other toys are in a panic. Buzz Lightyear, feeling a deep sense of responsibility for Woody's disappearance, rallies the troops for a rescue mission. He leads a small, elite team consisting of Mr. Potato Head, Slinky Dog, the ever-anxious Rex, and the cynical Piggy Bank Ham. Their investigation leads them straight to Al's toy barn. Their journey across town is an epic adventure in itself, full of hilarious and dangerous obstacles, from crossing a busy street under traffic cones to navigating the massive aisles of the toy store. Inside Al's toy barn, the mission hits a major snag. Buzz gets into a scuffle with a brand new Buzz Lightyear Toy 1 that, just like our Buzz in the first movie, believes he is a real space ranger on a mission. This new Buzz captures our Buzz and takes his place, leading the other toys on a wild goose chase. This case of mistaken identity provides some of the film's funniest moments, as the rescue team has to deal with a leader who is all protocol and no common sense. Back in Al's apartment, Woody is growing closer to the Roundup gang, especially Jessie. He learns the devastating story behind her sadness. She tells him, through the heartbreaking song, "When She Loved Me," about her former owner, Emily, who loved her dearly but eventually grew up and abandoned her in a donation box. Jessie's story of being forgotten and left behind deeply affects Woody. It makes him see his own situation with Andy in a new light. Andy won't be a kid forever. What happens to Woody when Andy grows up? This complicates his decision immensely. Does he return to Andy, knowing that their time together is finite, and that Andy will one day outgrow him, just as Emily outgrew Jesse? Or does he go to the museum in Japan, where he'll be immortalized and safe forever, but will never feel the love and joy of being played with again? Stinky Pete, who has spent his entire existence inside his box, argues for the museum. He's bitter, having never been loved by a child, and believes that being a collectible is the only way for a toy to survive. Jessie, scarred by her past, is terrified of being abandoned again, and also leans toward the museum. Woody, influenced by their arguments and his own newfound fears, starts to believe they're right. He begins to accept the inevitability of change, a much more mature and complex theme than anything explored in the first film. But then, Buzz and the gang finally arrive, having sorted out their doppelganger dilemma. Seeing his friends risk everything, crossing a city and fighting their way into a high-security building just to save him, triggers a realization in Woody. He remembers what's most important. Being loved and being there for a child right now matters more than lasting forever on a shelf. He chooses Andy. He chooses his family. The film's climax is a spectacular action sequence at the airport. Woody tries to convince Jessie and Bullseye to come back with him, but Stinky Pete reveals his true colors. He was the one who sabotaged Woody's earlier escape attempts. A frantic chase ensues through the airport's baggage handling system. It's a race against time as Buzz and the gang battle Stinky Pete and try to save Jessie from being loaded onto the plane. In the end, Stinky Pete is outsmarted and finds a new, less glamorous home in a little girl's backpack, where he's destined to get a makeover. Woody and Buzz perform a daring, movie-worthy stunt on the tarmac to rescue Jessie just as the plane is about to take off. They all make it back home just before Andy returns from camp. In Andy's room, Woody introduces Jessie and Bullseye to the rest of the gang. When Andy finds them, he's thrilled. He happily accepts the new additions to his collection, fixing Woody's arm and giving them all a new home and a renewed sense of purpose. The film closes on a note of hopeful realism. The toys know that Andy will eventually grow up, and their time with him won't last forever. But instead of fearing the future, they choose to embrace the present. They choose to value the time they have together, making every moment of being played with count. Toy Story 2 leaves us with a beautiful message about friendship, loyalty, and the bittersweet joy of living in the moment. If you enjoyed this detailed breakdown of Toy Story 2, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite films.